Hey guys, my name's Leanna. I am a senior editor over at Game Informer, and welcome to my channel. We are in the thick of E3. It has been insane and weird and very odd. Usually I cover it in person. This is the first time doing it digitally. I don't like it. It feels very odd to not actually get to talk to the developers face to face, meeting up with friends, getting to kind of feed off that energy of excitement. And so it's very odd, but you know what, we soldier on, that's what we do. um I feel like E3 this year was very much starting out at a snail's pace, which was kind of expected. I don't understand some of the decisions that have gone into E3. Gearbox, I'm not really sure why they even had a showcase. That was the perfect time to give us our for like a full reveal of the Borderlands movie. They have, I don't know if you guys, follow our coverage over there or not, or on Twitter, but they've been dropping a lot of like teaser images of the cast of Borderlands, like Kate Blanchett as Lilith, and Roland, which is Kevin Hart, and Jack Black, which is Claptrap. And they had all of these teasers, and then they coalesced them into one big group shot that lightened up the color a little bit, because you couldn't actually see the detailing of the characters. It was just black silhouettes. And then the final image was a little bit colorized, but still silhouetted, so you couldn't see like the armor details or anything like that. And it was very much alluding to the fact that we were going to get a full trailer reveal. So then when Gearbox came out saying, yeah, we've got a cool showcase to show, especially hot off the heels of the Tiny Tina game reveal, which is Wonderland. I haven't slept. It felt like a weird thing. Like, if you were, why include that in the other showcase if you were going to have your own? They didn't really. They offered a little bit of developer insight, very little, nothing really of any kind of substance. So I was a little confused by that. I don't know. Choices. But one thing I was really excited about was Xbox's showcase. No, anytime a gaming writer ever expresses an opinion, you're gonna always have the other half of the community calling you a shill or accusing you of paid off, and that's not the case. We're just also gamers, and we have our own opinions, and sometimes we just want the freedom to be excited about certain things, and other times we have to put the journalist hat on and bias extraction. But when we were covering it, I was really, really proud of Xbox, because they have kind of, obviously we know the Xbox One generation was rough, and like really rough. They really lost their way. And then Phil Spencer came on board, changed the name of the game, absolutely did what he needed to do to bring it back to gamers. I think that's very important. And, I've already talked about that in another video, but I love seeing the momentum, because we saw it with the last E3, was pretty hyped. You had the Keanu Reeves walking on stage. I breathed Keanu Reeves' air. It was really cool. And then you had this, and I feel like they did it really cool in a way that, acquisitions are nothing new with gaming. And but it's not often that the person or the company that acquires a studio really goes to showcase them. And I loved the format they had of it very much being a partnership versus so much of an acquisition, even though that's what it was. Because Todd Howard has come out before many times through the years saying that that company has had a really close working relationship with Xbox. They've been able to do a lot of good things with Xbox. Now they're going to be able to do it in a more official capacity. I feel like if this acquisition happened pre Phil Spencer, it could have spelled out bad news, because Xbox hasn't had the best track record of being able to stay, hands off of the creative vision. And Phil Spencer and his team, the new team, there's a lot of awesome people now in leadership positions over there that really just respect the process and respect the reason why you're acquiring all of these studios is because they have different creative visions, and that's to build a variety on the Xbox platform. And I feel like we got that with this showcase. We had Halo Infinite, which was what I was most excited for, and I've been very vocal about that on social media, as I am a huge Halo fan. So I was really interested to see what 343 did to kind of take a step back and take the feedback from last year and really how they integrated it, and seeing the shield deflector, which was really cool, because if you shoot, it like deflects everything out, and then you have the repulsor, so when you're running and gunning, you can repulse projectiles that are coming at you. The grapple hook is just it was glorious. I was like almost crying. I was so frantic in our newsroom, just like freaking out over everything they were showing. The story trailer was just phenomenal, even though it was obviously, these are obviously meant to be teases. You're not going to give up the whole story right out of the gate. But the way they did it is so different than what we've seen thus far. And it was interesting because one of the feedback that kept coming up the most when they had their first reveal, and was ultimately the reason why they delayed the game from being an Xbox Series X launch title, was the fact that it looked too campy, it looked too cheery to be Halo. You know, Halo has always had a very dedicated, specific kind of aesthetic. And 343 was like, you know what? We see you and we're gonna raise you going into the bowels of fucking hell. The cinematic that they had just had Chief like just careening through space, and it was dark reds and blacks, and just really the color theory. You know, obviously I'm a huge fan of color theory, but the color theory was just wild, and it really kind of imposed this subconscious feeling of just epicness, and you can do anything even against all odds. And then we met Cortana Light of talking about, you know, them chasing down Cortana and Halo 5 and the deletion, and well, it's not deleted, so what happened? A mystery is afoot. And then Scooby-Doo and the gang came riding in their horse. And I thought it was very interesting how they're setting it up. They're blending it in from Halo 5, but they're still bringing it back to what Halo loved, because Halo 5 was very controversial in terms of player feedback. Some people loved it. Some people really resonated with Locke. Other people were like, this is weird. Their multiplayer was great, though, but that was definitely a piece of feedback that was interesting. So I loved seeing how they kind of blended that in, and where we're going to go. And of course, another issue comes up, and of course, it's going to be up to Master Chief to fix it. And it just, I don't know. As a Halo fan, I was getting massive. I mean, every look we've had so far, I've gotten massive Halo Reach vibes. The latest look we had a look at the story trailer and multiplayer, and then 343 actually did a new video that was really deep diving into like the different vehicle types. You know, we got the Scorpion back, we've got the Warthog back, we've got the Warthog's new cousin, which was introduced as well. And yeah, I thought it was really well done, and I'm excited to learn more. Halo 3 and Halo Reach vibes all day, every day, and I think that's great. And the armor designs look beautiful. The reworking they've done on the environments were absolutely beautiful. But this whole video is not about Halo, so I need to just shut the fuck up and move on. And then we had also some just cool indies as well, and I'm interested in like Sable and things like that. And even the Stalker 2 look was good. I liked a coworker of mine, Blake, brought up a good point that the whole trailer was in Russian, and they were like, no, this is the vision, you can just read the subtitles. Whereas most companies are kind of almost scared to do that because gamers are really hard to please sometimes, and you know, the use of subtitles kind of bothers some people, and also there's an accessibility issue there. But Xbox did a really good job of making sure they had ASL, which is for American Sign Language, and then also AD for auditory deficiencies. So even that, it was still working to the player's favor, or the viewer's favor, which I really liked. One thing that I was really just kind of shocked by is, Starfield aside, they ended the showcase on Redfall. And Redfall, I don't know. And keep in mind, I know people are going to be upset because I know I was getting ripped apart on Game Informer. I made the mistake of calling it, like saying it vaguely reminded me of Left 4 Dead because of the way the co-op was set up. And I just got ripped to shreds. But to me, it kind of gave me the perfect blend of Left 4 Dead and Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, and Vampire Masquerade just in general. And I just really kind of liked that. Like, I loved the fact that, one, they ended the show on that instead of Starfield. Like, they opened with Starfield, which nobody was expecting. But I don't even know if that was the plan, because Starfield, Washington Post accidentally leaked the entire trailer and release date like 30 minutes before the show started. So maybe they were just like, people already know it's coming, so we might as well. That's a huge production issue. I used to work on the production sites. I don't think that kind of a change is super easily doable, but they've done weirder things in the past. But I love that they ended the note on Redfall, because it was just, and keep in mind, this is not gameplay. This was obviously cinematic and CGI, but the way they revealed that, stop. It was just was dope. Like it left me just like shaking because I was so excited. It the dialogue was sassy. The characters were all very different from each other. And I thought that was really cool because like their personalities shone through, even just a little bit we saw their personalities shone through, the different styles, the aesthetics. And I just love it, kind of reminded me of like Juno's writing, the movie Juno, because it was just understated and kind of cliche and campy in some parts, like the one where he was like, how's the vampire, and she's like drinking a slushie and she's like, tastes like blood and death and a hint of strawberry. And I just campy, but it was funny. And then what killed me though was towards the tail end, she was like, easy there, Edgar Allan bro. And I was like, I'm stealing that, like that's beautiful. And I don't know, the stylization was really cool. The monster and the vampire art design was incredible and unique. And we're finally moving away from Lady D from Resident Evil Village. There's a new big tall vampire lady in town, and I'm here for it. And I think that's honestly what stole the show for me was the vampire game. I'm from New Orleans. I grew up in New Orleans, so obviously we're big into supernatural and vampires there. We're home of Anne Rice. And so as soon as I saw it was a vampire thing, because I was thinking, it was like, is this Bloodlines 2? Because Bloodlines 2 changed hands. It's no longer under the same developer, so we have no idea where that's going creatively speaking. So I was like, is this them like reintroducing it? But this is like heavy guns. That's not a vampire like thing. Like that's not what that series is known for. And then we started seeing like the different weapon types and the gear. And what's interesting though is the name Redfall, because that was actually a huge conspiracy theory in the Elder Scrolls community. You know, there was a person that came on Reddit and they were like, I have this big Elder Scrolls 6 leak and it's like, it's called Elder Scrolls Redfall. And then that started a dispute because there's an author that has a whole series off of Redfall. So then there was the, legal dispute of who can use the name. And then the leaker ended up, later saying like, oh no, I made it all up. So it's interesting though that he called it Redfall, and this is what it, it's not actually Elder Scrolls related. And sorry, work. It's not Elder Scrolls related at all. It's its own game. And I don't know, that's kind of a sneak, because I mean, this is the day and age of leaks. Everything and its mother leaks now. And so for the fact that they were able to like slide that in there was really cool. I, not gonna lie, I got really stoked. And then of course we got Starfield, man. Like I already talked about that, but like I'm so freaking happy that we finally have some kind of a look. Todd Howard recently did some interviews today that went live, and it was I'm excited. And it's using a new engine. It's using the Creation Engine 2, so it's going to look different. And I like the fact that he said it was like basically NASA mated with Indiana Jones. They're going to really lean hard into the RPG element. Like Howard said, like it's going to be much more rooted in RPG mechanics and RPG design than even Elder Scrolls and Fallout, which to me is really exciting because, we've got the factions. He talked about the Constellation a little bit, which is the main faction players are going to be joining. And then there's going to be other choices that players can make along the way. There's going to be open world exploration. And I feel really excited. And you know what? I'm primarily a PC player, so I have no stake in the console war bullshit, but I'm glad that this is an exclusive for PC and Xbox, because, that's the big funny thing that people say is Xbox is not having exclusives, and then they start to get exclusives, and then people are mad about that. And I don't think, and I have the whole analysis, and I'll link that. I had this whole analysis, and I talked about it in the last video, of how wildly different Sony, I'm really sick. Sony and Microsoft have two very different marketing strategies, and it's evident here. I don't think Elder Scrolls is going to be an exclusive. I don't think Fallout's going to be an exclusive. I don't think Doom is going to be exclusive. I do think, however, all original IPs and new IPs are going to be exclusive, because why wouldn't they be? That's the reason why you acquire something. It's business. but it's also not a true exclusive because you don't have to have an Xbox console in order to play them. You can also play them on PC. When they start rolling out the TV integration that they talked about, it's going to be available through that. So even with being an exclusive, they're still honoring what they said about gaming being for everybody by also opening it up for their PC platforms. I think that's really cool. That's just me. I understand if people are upset. It is what it is. You know, Xbox needs some exclusives. That was the big falling point in the Xbox One generation, is that they did not work towards having any kind of exclusives, and they're working more towards different types of games. We've got racing, we've got shooters, we've got RPGs, we've got JRPGs. There's so much happening. Yakuza Like a Dragon is now on Xbox Game Pass. There's just so much they're doing, and I was really excited. However, I will say, with my excitement of the Xbox-Bethesda hybrid showcase, I feel really bad for Square Enix because their showcase was not long after, and it was just bizarre. So we've known about the Marvel's Galaxies Guardians of the Galaxies game for a while. It's obviously our cover story, so we've been interviewing the developers. We've been, you know, gameplay and talking and learning more about it. So we'll have, you know, if anybody that's a fan of Game Informer, we do have that. That's going to be our next issue. So we'll have a lot of information rolling out about that, including online. But it was 18 minutes. And the first trailer was cinematic, which was great. It really showed the humor because everything we've seen is hilarious. Like, they nail Star-Lord's dorky ass humor to the T. And then they rolled into 18 minutes of gameplay, so you could see kind of the morality system of like the telltale Rocket will remember that type thing. You can decide what the other characters around you do, like throwing Rocket across a cliff edge with Drax, or, you know, telling a character they can or cannot do something. And I'm really excited for it. Like Reiner, I remember who's our editor-in-chief, he talked about he like, when he first got the brief, none of us had the brief yet, and he came out and he was like, oh my god, this is, Lena, you're gonna love this, because it's literally Mass Effect meets Marvel, and I grew up with Marvel. I've always kind of favored Marvel over DC. Personal preference. In no way is that a commentary on how I feel DC is. DC is great. I just personally resonated with Marvel a little bit better, and yeah, that scratches a lot of itches that I have. I'm stoked. That's one of my most anticipated games now, outside of Redfall and Halo. But I think too, they should have just done that as a solo. They should have just said world premiere, E3 exclusive, tune in, and then let that be it, because they followed it up with a bunch of random Final Fantasy stuff, and it was weird. And then a bunch of mobile news, and then they had the Origins story, which didn't feel like Origins. It felt like, I don't even know. It was weird. Like the guy with the t-shirt. Okay, sure. And then they had the demo, and then they like hyped it, the demo. Like, the demo's coming out today. Play it now. Nobody can access the demo. Last we checked this morning, you still can't access the demo. It shows as a corrupted file. It was just a clusterfuck. I don't know what they're doing. I'm excited for Nintendo tomorrow. I'm trying to temper my expectations. I want Breath of the Wild 2. Let Zelda be playable, you cowards. Give me petable dogs. Give me less fragile weapons. Give me co-op. Like, on the vein of talking about Zelda being playable. Like, give me co-op. That sounds great. And yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for whatever they have to do. I'm trying to temper my expectations, because I feel like if you put too many of your own expectations and you do it often enough, you kind of forget reality a little bit, and then you're disappointed if what you were expecting to see. Capcom's got something going up today. I am recording this before work starts, so I will not have a chance to see it before this point. We do know we're getting a lot of Resident Evil stuff. We know we're getting Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories news and new looks, and a couple of other little surprises filtering in. I'm hoping for some kind of a VR adaptation of Village. I think that would be really cool. I would love to see Code Veronica get a remaster. I think we're going to get Code Veronica before we ever get a true Resident Evil 4 remaster, or remake, because we've already seen that iteration a couple times now. Code Veronica would be the one coming out of left field. I think a lot of people are going to be angry at that, but I would love to see that personally. And this is my video, so But yeah, but at the time of this recording, I don't know what they're showing there, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, no, so far, E3 has been a little bit understated, but I feel like absolutely Xbox and Bethesda stole the show. And I feel like that's really good going forward into the year ahead because it really sets the tone of the partnership. And Phil Spencer and Todd Howard were very much sharing the stage as equals. It didn't feel like an acquisition, it felt like a partnership, and I think that's a really important element. I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping, and I knew this wasn't gonna happen, but it was kind of that like Hail Mary request of, because now Obsidian and Bethesda are under the same umbrella. So I was like, oh, could we possibly get a New Vegas too? No, but we are getting an Outer Worlds too. And that reveal was also hilarious because they were like making fun of the industry right now, of us showing games years in advance, including Bethesda. Bethesda's guilty of it. And they were just like, we're showing this too early, but that's okay because we have slow motion shots, and that means this will have a lot of pre-orders. And kind of an interesting, social commentary. It would have been funnier if they actually had something to reveal beyond a cinematic teaser, just because, the joke kind of fell flat when it was less ironic and more of some narrating what was actually happening of we're showing it too soon. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what Xbox does going forward. I'm excited to see what Bethesda goes forward. I'm excited to see what Nintendo has in store. I'm ready for events to open back up. This digital shit is old. I'm tired. So I'm excited. You guys let me know what you guys thought of E3 2021 in the comment section below. You can also check out our E3 hub over at Game Informer. It's gameinformer.com/E3, with all of our gaming coverage, watch-alongs, breakdowns. It's all there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.